do a small demo. We're going to look at some data. We're going to look at education data versus GDP, and it's test data, so, it's not like it's true data. We're going to manipulate it a little bit. We're going to get the data, we're going to manipulate the data a little bit, and then we're going to plot the data, model it and plot the data. So as Raj mentioned, this is a free application that anyone can download online. And so with that, everyone in the world can contribute to it. And so R has over thousands and thousands of packages that are pre-created by someone that pretty much kind of does what you want it to do. And one of those that we looked at earlier is called ggplot. So the first thing that you want to do, it doesn't really come with the software directly. So if you go online, you search for it, and the command isn't really working in your application. So this is the R console. And if it's not working, you need to download the package into your environment, and then you need to invoke it. So that's the first thing we'll do. So I guess a little bit brief overview of the console. On the left side is where you're going to write your command. So at the caret, if you're at the caret, that's where the start or the end of the program has finished running. It doesn't really give you an indication as the other languages. On the right side, I'm just going to close that. On the right side is where you have the ability to create your environmental variables, and you can see that and also see the history of some of the past commands that you might have ran. And to the bottom right is where you can see your plots, see your directory that you can access or are on your machine, packages, which is what you currently might have on your machine, and then help, and then the viewer. So we'll start with installing the ggplot package. Not going to really give you an indication that it's. Oh yeah, sorry about that. More? I just need that a little bit bigger. Okay. So it went through, it found the package, and it downloaded the package, and as you see that it came back to the caret, and so that means that the package has finished running. And so now we've just finished downloading the package, and we're going to invoke the package so we can use it later on. And so we're going to call our library. And it doesn't really give you an indication that it's finished or it has done anything, but you can go under your packages and look for the one that you might have downloaded. Okay? So the next thing we're going to do, I've already kind of saved a couple of the test files on my machine, but you'll either, you can go online and directly access that, or get it from your desktop or whatever you might have saved the file. And so I'm going to first check what my working directory is. So I'm going to get the directory. It looks like it's in my documents, so I'm going to set my directory to be where I've saved my file. My desktop. And so we can go back and check what the directory is. So as you can see that it's changed from my documents to my desktop. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, since I already have the file, is I'm going to bring the file into the R environment. And for that, I'm going to first start by creating a variable. So I'm going to put that into a variable, and I'm just going to, we can name the variable whatever we want, and you assign it with a less than minus sign. You're going to use a command called read. So we're going to read a CSV file, and we're going to read it as education by state. Anything you do in R, if there's a a package or a program or a function that you're reading, it's kind of nice that it kind of gives you a little bit of intelligence on what commands or arguments that you're allowed to pass in. So it kind of gives you that right away. And then the other note is that it's very case sensitive, so you want to be very careful when you're trying to read your file in. So if you kind of misspell things, or even if it's not case sensitive, it's not going to find the file for you. So I'm going to get my CSV file, and because I have headers in my file, I'm going to say headers equal true. And you see that I have a variable that's been created. I'm going to read my second file in. It also has headers. Okay, and you'll see that the other variables are created, the second variable where I have my second file read in. It's saying that it has 50 observations, or 50 rows, and 7 variables, or 7 columns, and 4 columns. You can look at the file, so you can either click here, and you'll see that the file data you can view right away, or you can actually write the view command, and I'll do the other one. Okay, these are pretty straightforward usually for you to debug. I think like I said, it's not case sensitive, and I was trying to put lowercase v for view. And you see that it's from the file. What we're going to do next is going to create a new data set by merging the 2 files, kind of doing like an join. And we're going to do that by the state field, because that's the common field that I have in both of the files. So I'm going to create a new variable where I'm going to merge the data set. Merging by my bachelor's degree file and my GDP file by state field. And you'll see that a new variable has been created again with the joined records. And again, it's trying to do inner join. Now going to, so if I look at the file, it's not very friendly column names. I'm going to try to rename them in a more user-friendly names and bring in the 3 files or 3 columns that I'm really most interested in. So I'm going to do that by using the column names function of our new variable of a merged file that we've created. And I'm going to do that as, I'm going to concatenate that. I'm going to call one of the column state just as is. The other one I'm going to rename it as percent bachelor's degree, bachelor's, and then GDP per capita. Okay, that it kind of renamed the columns at the top from what we had earlier. Okay, I'm now going to create a model that we can actually plot, and a linear model. So I'm going to create a variable called model. And at any point, you can review what you've done by looking at view to see what was done previously. So view linear model, let me create a linear model by GDP per capita by percent dash. And I want to make sure that I spell it exactly as is. For data set, okay. You see that the model.
How do you know it's a linear model?
It's just an example that I've chosen to demo today. Yeah, there's tons of other model types that you can create.
So your question is why linear models?
Right.
Yeah. And that's where the knowledge and use case comes into picture. Like what are you trying to do and what model is suitable to be able to do that. So that apart from the tool, the knowledge about the models and things like that. A little bit of that will cover the machine learning thing there, modeling.
If you know the data, if you know the linear model is
Go ahead.
So this is Ravi question. So there are two commands like the call names, new data, you put state, %, and then GDP per capita, right? So it's going to rename the first 3 columns, that's where it is?
Yeah, to use the 3 columns to plot the data.
Okay, only the first 3 columns, right? Because
Yeah.
you're just renaming that. Okay. The second one is a model, and then 1M, that is kind of a 1M is kind of a...
Yeah, it's actually LM, so it's
LM.
linear model. So if if I like hover over it and then I press F1,
okay.
You'll see that, you know, it kind of gives you a little bit of summary of what that model is.
Okay.
Kind of help. Again, this is just for demo purpose. There was no reason that that's what you have to use when you plot your data.
Okay.
Okay, and so, hang on. Okay, so once the model that you've created, again, you can create functions inside your model to do that as well, but this is something that someone has already created, linear model, a package that's already part of the program that someone has created, and I'm just repurposing it for this data set. And so we can examine, so one of the steps that was highlighted earlier was that we can examine the model, and so you can see that it's created the min-max values and calculated the deviation errors for us. Okay, and so now I'm going to use another function. So now we're going to use the ggplot function to actually plot the data. So all this while, you're just kind of setting it up, transforming it, and setting it up in our environment so that you can visually produce something. And so for that, I'm going to create another variable and read what we've created earlier. So ggplot of our new data set, so the variable where we've joined the 2 files together. Another function that's readily available that's part of ggplot, AES, which is basically just aesthetically, as it says, mapping your X and Y coordinates. Again, this is a long ways from Tableau, so it's not its core function, but when you're examining and doing some data analysis, it's a good way for you to examine what you've learned of your data. So I'm going to use that function. I'm going to create my X coordinate to be bachelor's degree, degree, and my Y coordinate to be GDP per capita. And then what I'm going to do is, since these are not very user-friendly names, and people might want, your users might want different names, I'm going to rename these columns on the plot itself by using another function that's already available called xlab. We're going to name it as proportion of population with bachelor's or higher degree. And then I'm going to rename the y coordinates as GDP per capita. Okay? And so my other variable g has been created, and so if we examine value, writing everything out. Label. So we're labeling the actual plot, what it's called. And if I invoke my G again, you see that the plot's been created by our X and Y, and then our state data has been plotted. So that's an example, and then it gives you ability to save it as PDF or image for sharing purposes. You can zoom into the data additionally to view your data set. And so this is really a good way for you to do some data analysis to see outliers. So if there were outliers here, you know, it's kind of visually inspecting the data. Sometimes it kind of gets lost if you're looking at just like a static Excel table, tabular data.
If you see here, like you are putting like GEOM text AES label state, because of that command, it is showing all the state names there.
Yep.
It's going to be a dot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
We can create another plot if we want, or that's what I had. So it's kind of just like bringing all the concepts together. You know, you're as you start doing data analysis, you might want to bring in your file, examine the file, or read in some format. It gives you the ability to filter data, you know, transfer right in the tool itself, along with actually creating models for it, and then plotting the data so that you can visually inspect it right away.